a number of us were probably carrying a number of diseases and so forth.
That Arse on the Glass promotion was one of the best radio promotions I've ever been associated with.
The crowd were banging on the side of our caravan all day. They were trying to climb in the windows.
They said we were inciting drinking.
And that was it, I think. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Poor Lee Hart had to buff so many beers.
I don't recall that.
Suddenly, the ACC were banned from Eden Park and Hagley Oval, citing health and safety risks. Can you recall anything that may have tipped the officials over the line with this?
Were we still going in 2018? We were still going along to games. Wow.
Yeah, so we eventually, after the World Cup, I think we had another season in the caravan. We were having a great time.
Looking back, we sometimes felt a little bit hard done by it. But at times in the caravan, we were running a full bar and bartender in a place where we weren't allowed alcohol.
Obviously, we raised the suspicions of quite a number of officials around what we were up to. And they started to get a bit tetchy, particularly at Eden Park. And we thought we were being pretty subtle by pouring our beers into official cups and then walking around drinking them.
It always annoyed me that we had to pour our smuggled alcohol into the plastic cups so no one could see that we were drinking in there, because it was obvious that we were drunk.
The caravan weighed coming in about 3 tonne and almost nothing going out. We would unleash just bottles. We'd be there all day, and then before we took the caravan out, we'd just fill rubbish bins and bags with bottles. It was clear what we were doing.
And it made us very responsible recyclers.
Oh, look, just on that, health and safety risks, absolutely we were. I know that a number of us were probably carrying a number of diseases and so forth.
So they said that the caravan was unsafe, and we said, okay, fine, we'll do it from a commentary booth. They then said that there was no commentary booths available, and we're talking Eden Park, which has approximately 20 commentary booths available. And so we thought, that's a bit shit.
But yeah, it felt like the culmination of something that had been brewing for some time. Believe it or not, there were people out there in officialdom who didn't want or like the ACC, which I, could never get my head around. Of course, the incident with Lee going out with the drinks, which, by the way, was not Lee's fault. He was totally set up for that by sponsors or whatever. I can't quite recall.
Look, I don't want to get into sort of JFK type conspiracies here, but it was a hit job. You know what, you got the CIA, the FBI, Texas millionaires, the communists, Fidel Castro. They wanted us out of there, and a lot of money would have changed hands, I think, to get us out of there, and it was never kind of the same once we got banned from the grounds, to be honest.
But looking back on it, I can see why they kicked us out.
Were you aware there was a security camera placed directly on the ACT caravan every time you were at Eden Park?
Are you serious?
Oh my God. Oh no.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
A security camera was placed above our caravan. Does that footage still exist?
They must have all kinds of dirt on us. Are they holding off using that?
Look, I wasn't aware at the time that there was a security camera on the caravan. I have since learnt through the courts. We have got access to those files. We're yet to see the footage that has been kept from us. I don't know what they would have seen, but I tell you what, it certainly has a few of us worried.
Nudity, certainly. Love making, possibly. The odd tipple, maybe.
It used to be a thing, what happened in the caravan, what stayed in the caravan kind of thing. If this camera caught anything that happened in the caravan, I'd be very concerned, and I'd say a lot of the ACC would be.
Well, I know exactly what they saw, because I saw it with my eyes. Well, I can't remember a lot of it, but I've got a vibe. Was it not an infrared camera, was it? Okay, thank God. If it was an infrared camera and it could actually see into the caravan, that would be problematic.
That would be the end of us, I would say. That would be the end of sport in New Zealand, I would say.
What are they waiting for? there was everything that you're not allowed to do has happened in that caravan, and some hard drive somewhere. There's like a mine waiting to go off. There's like
Good times.
Do you think putting the ACC caravan on the embankment in the middle of the crowd at Hagley Oval might have been throwing you to the wolves?
I remember this well. Hagley Oval, we were placed in a really, really open spot, and we were placed, in fact, in the area of the ground where most of the people who'd consumed a lot of alcohol were sitting, and people were entering the caravan. It was kind of crazy.
wide in the open. And look, ACC fans, bless them, I love them, but they're an unruly mob, especially the G Lane fans, and you can't really put us just out there, not surrounded by security. Like a mob starts to form.
We were in there where people were hitting on the caravan and rocking it and trying to get in there again, of course. It was very hard to commentate under those conditions. I do remember that, even for us top commentators.
Poor Lee Hart had to buff so many beers because we were in the middle of the embankment, and every time he showed his face outside the caravan, a beer was passed through and he had the chance of skull. So Lee Hart being Lee Hart, he's a man of the people. He would bury it.
As a professional commentator, you don't really want to be walking around the ground and grabbing your own beers. If they can come into you via a little pop-up window in a caravan, that's far more professional, I would say.
I felt the crowd were banging on the side of our caravan all day. They were trying to climb in the windows, and it was a dangerous situation, and then the arse against the glass promotion began, and then that just fired things up. That was like pouring petrol on a fire. It just ignited.
There's certain things with the ACC you proudly own, and it's great to be a part of it. There's also certain things you distance yourself from. And the Arse on the Glass campaign, I think that was something I really wanted to distance myself from. Well, literally, in a way, I didn't want to put my arse in that glass. My point there being, it was very much a Matt and Jerry radio hijinks kind of initiative, and chuck a bit of Lee Baker in there as well. You got a recipe for a pretty tacky, lowbrow campaign, which I just wish never happened, to be honest.
That Arse on the Glass promotion was one of the best radio promotions I've ever been associated with. It originated from a guy called Arse on the Glass Harrison from the Hibiscus Coast, who turned up and put his arse against the glass in our studio. And I think Matt had an imaginary friend which he'd made up called Butch Arse Grab, and it became a promotion. People came up, put their ass on the glass, and then they won prizes. We took that on the road with us for some reason as part of a Hauriki promotion, Radio Hauriki, and we took the piece of glass, and it had a square on it, and you pushed your ass against the glass and you'd have a photo taken. And I think some people won prizes. Anyway, we had it at the cricket. People were putting their ass against the glass. Hilarity was ensuing. People loved it. It was a very popular promotion.
Yeah, the Arse on the Glass, which I got close to, I think I had the pleasure of holding the glass. It's funny to me that it was all fine, it was all fun and games until a woman put her ass on the glass, which I thought was really sexist. And why shouldn't one of our female fans be allowed to put her ass on the glass?
The crowd went crazy. It was because we were right in amongst the crowd. And then next thing you know, there's police involved, and ACC head G Lane was trying to explain what the promotion was all about.
Very hard to explain, very hard. And I don't think we managed to explain it. So hence that added to the fuel to the fire of why we got banned.
And then some guys in Steady the Ship hats went to go and get some booze from somewhere, and they were intoxicated and they were denied alcohol, and then they came back and said that they'd been denied alcohol, and then I think we started talking about it on air.
You recall the Steady Ship hat wearers weren't allowed to buy beers. They deemed to be, if you're wearing a Steady Ship hat, in other words, if you're a fan of cricket, a fan of the ACC, you must be a moron or an idiot. Or it's almost like putting a T-shirt on saying, I am drunk or I am stupid. I mean, a lot of them were. Let's be honest.
Well, that was a completely cynical attempt to cut the ACC off and our fans at the knees. Some of our followers and our fans were getting pretty wasted, and they had decided that the way to stop that was, it was weird profiling. Like, you can't do that in 2023. It was a form of racism, really. Anyone wearing that cap was of a certain tribe, and they weren't allowed to drink all of a sudden.
Because they said we're inciting drinking, and they couldn't tell who was who with all the hats on. So we sent someone, we didn't believe them, and we sent someone with a microphone to find out if that was true, and it was true.
Great response from us. We very quickly got some recording equipment. We wired one of our fans, we sent them into the drinking area, and we recorded the sound of them being told to fuck off, which was extraordinary. I can't remember if we broadcast that. I think we did. Yeah, we broadcast that. It was great, great transparency, open justice, right?
They didn't like that. They didn't like that expose. And then they said that we weren't welcome back into Hagley Oval either.
Look, I think we were banned because they wanted to ban us. There was a conspiracy against us. Sure, we didn't do everything by the book. We were breaking rules here. We were reinventing commentary in many ways. But you have to do that sometimes. You have to go on a limb. You're not going to get it right every time, and you just can't, tar everyone on the same brush because they're wearing the seat of the ship hat. And look how many people wear them now. Most people do all over the world. I mean, it's incredible what's happened there, but just goes to show what people try to stop, in its initial form.
You got to understand too, our ratings then were triple what the commercial ratings were, and there was a lot of people getting the knives out, looking to chop us down, and I guess in the end they got their way.
So it was then we said, well, maybe the writing's on the wall. The time's up, the party's over, probably just as well actually, because I think most everyone's marriages and partnerships were on the rocks.